Okay, you support a lady who says that you're likely not going to marry. All that time you were engaged, you were likely to end up single for the rest of your life. What does the manosphere say about that? Do they disagree with that? Do they agree? Coriander Yander. I'm just wondering. Because you're saying that Cynthia G is somehow along the lines of someone you agree with, even though the lady says that your marriage shouldn't even be valid. I'm just saying. I mean, how do you ignore what she has to say about you just because she says things about black men, and because one may not like black men, you ignore everything she's actually saying about you? Mammies, like I said, have the same mindset as black men who have an issue with women like you who, interracially date, interracially marry, and so forth. They just do. They have the same talking points. Let's watch.
Hey guys, I want to come on here and clear up something because I did a video about the divestment community who always wants to get into my inbox and get on my comments and tell me how wrong I am and make dumb comments like I'm trying to scare black women away from dating white men. So let me start this out by saying this. I don't care whether you date white men. I'm not trying to scare you away from dating white men. I'm not trying to take a pink peen out of your mouth. I'm not trying to get you to think that you're not desirable to white men. But the reality of it is facts are facts. And the data shows that while the interracial dating rate, according to Pew Research, between black women and white men is at 12%, the marriage rate is at 3%. So that means the majority of you guys who are dating white men are not getting married to them. Skincare is very important. So if you're looking for products that are safe, natural, and effective, go to qualityhandmadesoaps.com. This is a black-owned business where you can find all natural handmade lotions, body butters, sugar scrubs, bath bombs, and more. Go to qualityhandmadesoaps.com because handmade is the best made. And we know men initiate marriages, so the reality of it is that they're not interested in marrying you. Will they date you? Yes. And let's set the record straight. There is a difference between a man checking for you, glancing at you, and acknowledging you, dating you, and marrying you. So if you're going to come into my comment section and make the dumb comment saying, oh, well, black men are not marrying us either, that doesn't negate anything because you're saying that you're divesting to the men within the dominant society because they won't marry you. So then you can't come back and try to negate what I'm saying by saying, oh, well, black men won't marry us either. The whole point is...
See, for one, she makes you out to be a reject because she says that the reason you would go out to other races is because black men don't want you, like what she just basically said. She also said that any man of any other race that you've ever dated would never see you as marriage material. So she's saying that about all the relationships that you've had, including your new marriage that you've had. And congratulations, by the way. So, I mean, I'm just saying, you say you support a lady who doesn't even support your own marriage. How does that make divested women look when they support a woman who doesn't even support them? She just literally doesn't even support your own marriage. She literally thinks that he thinks that you are not marriage material. Same goes for many of the people in this space who, are in relationships and in interracial marriage and so forth. Many of those people, too, she thinks that their partners don't think that they are marriage material. She also thinks that the only reason you go with other men of other races is because you're reject and black men don't want you enough. So then you go to other races. See, she doesn't see so favorably of you. Now, let's get into it more, because, I mean, she says a lot about you.
Of you divesting from them is because you're claiming there's another group of men who will marry you, genius. So y'all really need to think before you speak and before you get into my comments and say stuff. And look, you can make whatever video you want trolling. You can say whatever you want. You can suggest that I can't get a man within the dominant society as much as you want to. I can get a man within the dominant society. I don't want one. So you saying that doesn't mean anything to me. I could get better men within the dominant society than you guys do, because the difference is I'm not carrying around desperation on me. I'm not looking at them as my savior. So when I go out and navigate in the world, I'm walking around as a woman who couldn't care less whether these men give me attention or not. What y'all are doing is allowing black men to dictate your dating decisions. A black man made you feel devalued, and now you're trying to go to the men within the dominant societies to somehow restore that value rather than doing the work on yourself. Are you looking for a way to entertain?
See, did you hear all that? That's how she sees you. She sees you as devalued goods by black men. She also sees you as a bit of people who are desperate, basically. Things of that nature. This is how mammies like to view women who interracially date, because they want to think that divested women have some kind of negative quality. I always find that funny, because many of the time they're the ones with the specific negative qualities that would make them rejects, but then they want to blame others for supposedly being rejects, simply because of the color that they prefer to be with, you know. But anyway, I'm just pointing this out. You were saying that you supported her, and she's someone you like, even though she doesn't like you. She doesn't respect you. She doesn't respect your marriage. She doesn't respect the lifestyle you choose to live. She doesn't respect your preference. She doesn't respect your interest in the race of men that you prefer. She doesn't respect any of that. Yet you're willing to say that you support a woman who doesn't support you or your lifestyle. She doesn't. She may use you, but she doesn't support you.
Entertain yourself during this self-quarantine time, pick up The Color of Madness by Crystal Black, where she details the impact of racial oppression on the Black female psyche. This book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Arthur House. The Color of Madness by Crystal Black. Regardless of what any of y'all try to say about me, I will try to do the work on myself to make sure I am whole, to make sure that my mind and my emotions are in the correct place and that they are conducive to the type of relationship that I want to be in, regardless of the race of person. Now, that's going to be a black man, obviously, but what y'all are swore hopefuls. Y'all are undesirable. So some of y'all can sit up and still live with your parents and claim that a white man is going to come save you, but if he's not even getting you out your parents' house, then clearly you're, number one, not select, and number two, not worth his attention. Even though he is glancing your way, he's still not taking you out of your parents' house. And that's what a lot of y'all's situation is. You're non-select, you have low self-esteem, you've allowed someone else to devalue you, and now you think this man from the dominant society is going to come pick up the pieces. He's not going to. Will he date you? Will he have sex with you? Will he befriend you? Will he talk to you? Absolutely. Will he fetishize you? Absolutely. Will he think you're pretty? Absolutely. Nobody is saying that any of these things can occur, but you're not going to argue against the fact that they are not marrying you in large numbers. That's just the reality of it. If the marriage rate has been 3% and then has only increased to 4% within the past 8 years, then clearly they're not interested in marrying you like that. And yes, part of that has to do with the fact that Black women are the least likely to date outside their race. So what you can do then is prove me wrong, go out and find you that man, get him to marry you, and then have that interracial marriage rate.
So, see, she is basically saying that you are undesirable because you interracially date. She's saying you're non-select because you interracially date. She's saying that you live at your mom's house because you interracially date. That was weird. I don't get that. Anyway, for you specifically, you usually, well, I'm not getting into that actually conversation because I feel like, yeah, I'm not getting into that conversation. But the point is, this is all the negative things this lady thinks about you. The chance of you getting married. She didn't think you had a chance of getting married. She thought you had a 3% chance of getting married. And then it raised to a 4% chance of getting married. And you are saying that this lady supports you in what way? She called you a swirl hoe. I mean, come on now. This, to me, this looks really stupid for us, I think. I don't mean to attack you. You know I support your channel and everything. But it looks stupid to me in my perspective as someone who relates to your lifestyle in the sense where I understand why one would have a preference towards a specific race. We just tend to prefer what's mostly in our society. So I understand all that, you know. But what I really think makes us look dumb is when we support people who don't like us, okay? Who don't like what we do, who don't like how we are. You know, naturally, it's just how it is. You know, you naturally are more attracted to other races than Black people. You know, me, I'm only attracted to other races than Black people. So, to me, I mean, like, I think that, you know, this lady obviously doesn't comprehend us at all. You know, she thinks that the only reason anyone would prefer other races is if they're a reject. Which I feel like we do have a reject problem in the divested sector. A lot of rejects run to divestment, and then they'll be talking about like how they're basically trying to be, you know, trying to go to another race because they feel like they were rejected by their own race. You know, the other people that I was talking to specifically in the comments that you commented on specifically was of this mindset where they were a reject, basically. I understand why rejects come to her channel because they agree with her. You know, they think that the only reason one would interracially date or marry or relationship or whatever would be because they were rejected. I mean, that's their personal thing, though. That's because their first preference is going to be someone within their race. That's their thing. But, you know, other people are not like that. Some people are just naturally going to the other race because, one, there's more people. I don't understand. To me, I've always thought it wouldn't matter what my sex was, because I know a lot of people have this weird phenomenon where they'll be like, they're okay with Black men doing it or okay with Black women doing it. And I always think that's so weird. You know, I just think we're in a society where majority people are white and Hispanic. We are a third minority in this country. Why the heck is anyone trying to relegate themselves to only 10-12% of the population? Do you know how many different ways you have to sift through when you're dating? how many different dang ways you have to sift through? There's an age requirement, a status requirement, so many minimum requirements here. I'm not talking about like compatibility, things that get more into the meat of it. No, just to even consider, you have to sift through a whole bunch of different types. Like, a lot of types get disqualified because they don't make the minimum requirement to even consider. You understand that we do not, when we are dating, usually our dating pool is not 300 million people, which is, how many people are in America. We live in a city, and then we have a percentage of that city. Say we have 1 million people in that city, or 500,000 people in that city. Then we are only sifting through, because if you're only within the race, that's 10%. And then when you break it down to the fact that obviously you're not dating babies, you're not dating kids, you're not dating someone who has dementia and is 90, you're not dating people who are married, gay people. You get what I'm saying. You're not dating females, you're only dating males. You see what I'm saying? Simple ways of sifting through. This is going to cut your percentage down several layers. I don't understand why anyone would relegate themselves to only 10-12% when your environment has always taught you to be attracted to the men in your society. And the men in your society aren't your race. We don't have different societies based off black or white. That segregated mindset has left over like 70 years ago. So I mean, like, I find it really weird that people still think in those contexts. Even back then, anyway, it's silly that people will say that long ago we were segregated, but we still saw white people. We still saw white people as a majority. We still saw white people on TV. We still saw white people in regular life. You can't avoid seeing white people, because white people are a majority in the society. That's why I always use the analogy of the whole situation where if you are someone who sells cereal, if you sell cereal in America, you need to appeal to white people, because white people are mainly going to be the ones eating your cereal, right? Anything that you do, white people are mainly going to be doing it, because white people are the majority in America, And so I'm just pointing out how our society is. Our society is dominated by white people. It's not dominated by black people. And I think people who are uncomfortable with the fact that black people aren't dominating America need to go to Bahamas, Barbados, or somewhere in Africa. Bahamas and Barbados are economically very stable, and they don't seem to have any wars or any conflicts. They seem like a very safe place to be, and they're dominated by black people. So you won't have to be acting like you live in a reality that isn't real, But anyway, my point is just saying that this lady does not support you. I don't like the look of trying to be used by a woman who doesn't support how I naturally am and doesn't even understand it. This is what I don't like about mammies. You don't even understand it. You don't get it. It's like you grew up in Africa or something. Like, you don't understand anything about how it is to be a black American in America. You don't really see the same lifestyle that I've lived and the same lifestyle you've lived. So anyway, continue.
Between black women increase. That's just my whole point. I don't want you to feel devalued, but I'm not going to mislead you and get you to believe that a group of men find value in you over their women when they don't. Teddy Rowe was a courageous African-American historical figure whose battle against the Chicago Mafia earned him the name Robin Hood of the Hood. The Life and Times of Teddy Rowe Policy King is an exciting historical tale that provides the untold and overlooked story of organized crime in America. So pick up Robin Hood of the Hood, The Life and Times of Teddy Rowe Policy King. The book is available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Are some black women able to go out and get a white man?
And I wanted to say on this whole situation, so, as far as the other girl, I wanted to say, with Coriander Yander, I don't understand. How is what Cynthia G is saying here any different from the manosphere? This is what I don't get. Like, if you actually listen to what Cynthia G has to say, it's exactly the same as the manosphere. When she is talking to divesters, she talks exactly like the black manosphere. You know. And personally, to me, my issue with the black manosphere is the constant anger, basically.